In this video, we're going to be talking about my new booklet, Exploring the Fretboard, 100 Exercises for Guitar. And in this video, I'm going to just give you some discussion about, what the book is about and what students would be doing with the book. And I'll also be talking about who the book is for and who it's not for. Another thing we'll do is we'll also just be talking about the intentions of the book and how students should go about using the book. And I hope that this gives students, if you haven't purchased the book, it'll give you an idea of what you're getting into and whether you want to do it. And if you have purchased the book, I hope it'll give you some ideas about what my intentions are and the best way to use the book to learn. There's a link for the book in the description if you want to go check it out. There's more written detail and samples and things like that. So, I'm going to talk in much more detail later in the video, but on a basic level, this book it's 100 exercises to get students exploring the whole fretboard. And I wanted to limit it to 100 exercises to keep it small and manageable, but also because, I want students to be able to get working with the whole fretboard and not to be comprehensive necessarily, because a comprehensive study of every position, like position reading, is a huge endeavor. And I think that lots of intermediate students need to start exploring the fretboard, get some good ideas into their hands and in their minds. They need to understand how the musical alphabet works on the guitar, and they need to start doing it without the pressure of a huge, endeavor under their belt. So that's the idea of the book. It's just 100 exercises, lots of variety, getting the students to break out of traditional method books and just work the whole fretboard in different ways before they move on to more comprehensive studies. The best way for me to describe what the book is also to describe what it isn't. So the book is not a scale book, although there's tons of scales in it, so you will be playing lots of scales, like single string scales, for example. But it's not a scale book. It's not laid out like that. And the scales come and go throughout the book. It's not a sight reading book, although there's lots of reading of music notation, so it will be challenging in that way, but it's not specifically a sight reading book. It's very similar, but it's not specifically. And it's not a fretboard theory or fretboard harmony book. But again, there's lots of exercises that would be found in one. The reason I'm saying it's not these things is because it's not laid out in a way that is structured and focused on those topics. Instead, it's not random. I have sections in the book, but it's more structured to just get students really working the fretboard without having to worry about being so comprehensive, which ends up being a huge endeavor. For example, the Aaron Scher scale book, Scale Supplement, is 279 pages of melodic sight reading. It's excellent for scales and melodic sight reading. Very comprehensive, but that's a huge undertaking. And in the meantime, it's going to take you a long time just to get through first position. And I want students, to start working everywhere before they work on a book like that. So that's the basic idea of what the book is about. I'll tell you what's in the book in a second, but this book is for students. I recommend that students have completed my first two method books, as well as my grade 1 to 3 repertoire lessons books. You can start the book at any time, though, but I think that if you approach it with more experience, it'll be much easier and therefore more enjoyable. So that's my recommendation for prerequisites. And I think the book is not for everyone. I think it's for the motivated student who's patient. And I say that because the book is really designed as a book to study the exercises in order. So one exercise at a time in order. And to only work on the book for 2 to 3 minutes a day. So you just take one exercise and you play that exercise and you repeat it for a few days and then you move on to the next exercise. You don't want to play a whole bunch of exercises or binge on the book because I think that would be tedious. I find all the exercises in the book really fascinating to work out. I love that stuff. I love figuring out my instrument. But I think some students, they might find it tedious or they might not have the patience for it. So it's for the motivated student that has a little bit of patience and is willing to just include it in the beginning of the practice session for 2 to 3 minutes, one exercise at a time, and then move on. So if you're the kind of student that wants to like rip through a book and you want quick answers and diagrams and layouts, like this book is not for you. This book is a book to be practiced by students regularly. The benefit can only come from regular practice of individual exercises and then repeating that exercise for a few days to really let it all sink into your mind. And it's all in notation with fingering, and they'll have video lessons for everything. But so, I mean, I think students will absolutely be successful at each exercise, but nevertheless, you want to practice each one for a little while to really let it sink in a natural way. I'm not trying to create a quick fix to learn the fretboard. I'm trying to create something that students can practice every day for a little tiny bit and to make progress in a long-term and structured way. One very important aspect of this book is to say the note names out loud. Lots of students will be able to, I'll talk about this later in the video, but lots of students will be able to play the fingerings right away, to play the exercise right away. But the act of saying the note names out loud, E, F, F sharp, G, E, F, F sharp, G, E, the act of saying it out loud and really knowing what note you're playing is an essential aspect of the book. So I really think if you're not willing to say the note names out loud for this book, don't get the book, because that is the exercise. And it's the reason why you want to repeat the exercise a few times, because the saying of the note names out loud will teach you the anchor notes that you need to know, and it will just let it all settle in. So you don't want to just memorize the fingerings and memorize the fret locations. What you want to do is to know what you're doing, to be speaking the note names, and to progress in a really healthy musical way. So it's for long-term development, and it's just these exercises are all designed to work that way. Now, what is in the book? Well, a big section of the book is single string exercises. And I do that because, first thing, I want students to understand the musical alphabet on the guitar. I want them to be able to know how the guitar is laid out in a similar way to a keyboard, knowing that, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, and being able to work, a single string for a few days to know all the notes really, really well, and to break them out of position playing. So just get you playing up that fingerboard. So lots of single string exercises. There's, also things like working on the fifths and octaves of each string, like to get, anchor points and to explore some musical theory on the instrument. I also have lots of comparative exercises in the book. So things like a comparison of first position to 13th position. So for example, if I play F, A flat, G, G flat, to know that the 13th position is the same notes, just one octave higher. F, A flat, G, G flat. And other comparative exercises as well that go across the strings. For example, E, F, F sharp, G, E, which can also be played here with the same notes. E, F, F sharp, G, E, or it could be played here with the same notes. E, F, F sharp, G, E. Those kinds of comparative exercises that get you working over the whole fretboard and realizing the similarities, but also just, learning where your anchors are, like knowing that E is there, and you learn some of your octave notes, those are all unison notes actually, but they're played in different locations of the guitar. So becoming comfortable with these kinds of things, working over the whole fretboard. There's some position playing as well, where we play like a scale in a position, and then we'll go through like some of the triads within that position. So all sorts of these kinds of exercises. And I think they're all exercises that just break you out of position playing, break you out of the common areas of the guitar, and just get you working over the fretboard. Again, though, it's not a sight reading book. It's not a music theory book. It's not, it's not like that. It's more just an opportunity to be able to practice some short, easy exercise. Well, not all of them are easy. Some short exercises every day that will get you working over the whole fretboard. And some of the exercises will be very easy and you'll be able to play them, right off the bat. Other ones will take you a very long time to learn, maybe, depending on your comfort levels in different areas of the guitar. I've talked about the book quite a bit now. I hope that it gives you an idea of what it's about. And yeah, it's not for everyone, but I think the motivated student that wants to just know their instrument a little bit better, and the type of student that practices regularly, but they need something to do in those practice sessions to learn the fretboard and just add activity, then I recommend this book, and I recommend you, once you finish it, you start it all over again. Doing it over and over will really help you to gain some comfort level with this instrument of the guitar that can be confusing sometimes. But students need lots of exercises, and they need I think they needed a book too that isn't insane to go through. I think also the video lessons, if you watch them before you practice the exercise, it'll give you some context, and then you can play through the exercise and successfully complete it, and then repeat it a few days to let it settle in. So I really hope you enjoy it.